What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new My Team career mode video. We're here today for the French Grand Prix round number 10 of season 1. Apologies about the delay with this video. I really don't have any excuses. Just the motivation to do it just hasn't been it just hasn't been here the last couple of days. I really don't know why. Yeah, so I was a bit confused, to be honest, but yeah, we're here at last for effectively the halfway stage of this season. I can confirm that obviously we've got this race done, and I'm currently in the progress of doing the British Grand Prix. At the time of recording this as well, the latest update 1.6 is out. So we do have the black Mercedes now in game. You will see that in the Silverstone episode, only in the race, as I actually did practice and qualifying before the update, and then obviously the update has come out overnight or early this morning. So yeah, the brand new all black Mercedes is now in the game. That looks very, very nice, I must say. It looks very cool to see out there on track. But anyway, getting back to us, practice one, as you can see, in the intermediate conditions. So a fairly damp and horrible day at Le Castellet, it must be said. But anyway, we got through practice relatively well. I think we passed all of the practice programs. I think we might have struggled with, I think it was qualifying pace. Just always seems to be the one program which I really struggle with around here. But anyway, the end of practice one, no real big surprise. Mercedes on top, followed by the two Ferraris. We come on to practice 2, and this was a weird one. The track was still a little bit wet, I felt, but I got told that it was right for dry tyres, so we gave it a crack, and you can see how well that ended. So then we come back, put on a set of inters, and our luck didn't really improve as we go around at the start of the back straight. But in the end, the track did dry out enough to get a little bit of dry running in. We end up 4th there, I think it was, in FP2. Then we come on to the final practice session. We actually went through all 3 practice sessions, which is something which I don't think I've ever done before. And as you can see, the end of FP3 now, everybody basically doing a soft tyre run. Hamilton and Bottas in the high 28, and we only manage a high 30, so 1.9 seconds off. Actually slower than our teammate Mick Schumacher as well, by around about half a tenth, so we might have our work cut out here. Mick is actually looking reasonably quick, but in saying that, the AI normally are pretty quick in qualifying, but in the race is normally where the player can really shine. So qualifying pace, as I said, I think we only got the green score for that practice program, but I'm not too worried about that, as you know, like I said, your qualifying pace sometimes there's never a true indication of where you really stand in the race. I think you can take, what was it, China as a prime example. We qualified, what, 18th or 19th? And with a wet to dry race, a little bit of luck, and just overall solid car pace, we ended up coming home in like 9th or 10th or something. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things progress for us, but I think that is just about everything that I need to cover, or everything that I can think of at least. So yeah, just having a look at R&D real quickly. We need to do some work on the durability. That's something that's going to hurt us, I feel, in the near future if we're not careful. But anyway, I think it is about time we get into qualifying for the French Grand Prix. Nice engine upgrade there. Hopefully that comes on with no problems. But let's go get into it and see how we go. Alright, it is time for qualifying here at Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. We're going out at the start of the session, as you can see now, and I'm not going to lie, I was actually struggling a little bit. The car just had a little bit of understeer in certain areas. Struggling with the braking as well a little bit, I must admit. 50% on the brake bias, as you can see. but in one or two corners I was actually locking the rears a little bit. But if I moved it forward even just one click, then I would start to pinch the front a little bit. So yeah, really not too sure what to do with all that. But we come across the line for our first lap of the session. Puts us P17, 29.1. Could definitely improve. That lap was by no means perfect. Cutting on it to the end of the session though, we've been demoted to P19. Mick Schumacher has actually jumped us, so our teammate looking pretty pacey at the moment. But we may have messed this up a little bit. We've got ourselves behind Nicholas Latifi here. Now, my idea here was actually try and get a toe off the Williams to maybe give us a bit of a boost down these two back straights. But as you can see, it has really made absolutely no difference. And now we've actually caught up. We're in the dirty air, and we're actually falling further and further back. So, yeah, it's really probably not the smartest idea. And, well, at this rate, it looks like we're actually barely going to improve. Our final sector on our first lap was pretty good, so we're going to have a mammoth final sector here. And unfortunately, it does not work as we go around on the exit of the long right hand. They're just too greedy on the power. And yeah, that was it. Qualifying is over for us, at least at Le Castellet here in France. Mercedes 1-2. That is no big surprise, and it really shouldn't be. But anyway, 2 Williams, 2 Spikers, and 2 Haas's eliminated. A common trait in this career mode at the moment. One of the Haas's there did have a 5-place grid penalty though, so that is interesting. I'm not sure what that's for, but we'll find out soon. But anyway, rivalry breakdown. We still lead Pierre Gasly by 1 point, so that's okay. Team Acclaim, not looking too bad either. So we'll be able to put another sponsor on the car soon enough, hopefully. But anyway, now it's time for the French Grand Prix.
To the circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Perez, Stroll, Sainz, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Lando Norris, and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, and Lee. Russell, Latifi, Grosjean, and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Alright, we will try and do that, but welcome guys to the grid of the French Grand Prix. Couple of grid penalties there for the AI, Grosjean and Kvyat. I'm not too sure what Grosjean's was for, to be fair. Kvyat, I think, was due to a couple of component changes, but I think from memory, Grosjean actually got his because of a collision in FP1, I think. So, yeah, I'm not too sure what all that is about. But anyway, getting ready to head off now for the formation lap. And you'll see something quite funny here, as, I just tapped the throttle pedal ever so slightly, and it actually went, you know, full gas basically. So, turns out, clever old me didn't really have the pedals calibrated, it looks like. So, I worked all that out on the formation lap, and as you can see now, just working them a little bit more, trying to get a feel for them, and eventually, you know, we got them working the way they're supposed to. So if we hit the throttle pedal 50%, the engine revs 50%, not 100 like it did as the formation lap commenced. But anyway, formation lap's already over, so let's get ready to race. I thought the engineer might have had something to say there, but no, apparently. Anyway, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for the French Grand Prix again. The lights held for an absolute age here. But it looks like a pretty good start, a very good start actually compared to our teammate Mick Schumacher. We draw ahead of the German down into turn 1, but there's nowhere really for us to go. Schumacher lunges back up the inside, and he actually gets the place back on us there. So our teammate looking pretty good off the start. Now trying to pressurise Giovinazzi. We now have Nicholas Latifi, a Williams, trying to look at getting around us. And again, can't really go anywhere. It's single file through there. Latifi gets shuffled out. Back down to P19 he goes. So everybody basically back to where they were. Schumacher remains in P17, us in P18. Grosjean and Kvyat still the last 2 cars behind the Williams there. They'll probably come through the field pretty quickly. But look at this mess at the end of the first section of the back straight, I'd say. We get a decent run on Mick Schumacher here, and we're going to go right by on this second back straight. We're not going to waste any time following our teammate, as I know for a fact I am quicker. And now looks like we're going to try and make a move on Raikkonen and Magnus. No, Schumacher actually coming back at us into this long right-hander. Mick not wanting to be pushed around by the boss, but we don't give him any options, but we lose the back end under braking there, and Schumacher just waltzes right back through. We just gather the car back up. We almost clean out Nicholas Latifi there. That was actually quite close to making contact with the Williams. But anyway, we survived, barely, and onwards we go. So, lap 1 completed. A pretty hectic opening lap, it must be said, particularly at the end there. But anyway, jump on board with Mick Schumacher now and have a look at this from his point of view. This is the back straight on lap 1, 3 wide in front with the 2 Alfa Romeos and the Haas. And as you can see, Mick just with nowhere to go gets balked on the exit a little bit there, and you can see in the mirror we come up and overtake him. But let's have a look at this from Nicholas Latifi's on board. Yeah, that probably actually wasn't as close as what I made it out to be, but really wouldn't have wanted to be any closer, let's be honest. But anyway, we continue onwards now on to the second part of the back straight on lap number 2. We're going to do the exact same thing to Mick Schumacher again. We don't have as much overspeed this time. We go side by side through that long right-hander, and we do get the job done. A little bit sketchy there, to be fair. Not really a place you want to run side by side if you can help it. But anyway, we got through there unscathed. Mick gave us enough room, and we did likewise. Coming on to the start of lap number 5, we've dropped Schumacher by about 2 seconds. He's got about 2 seconds in turn back to Romain Grosjean. Cutting on to the start of lap number 7 now, and a majority of the AI that started on the softs are now in the pits. So now we're promoted up to P8 actually. We've caught up to the back of Kevin Magnussen and Kimi Raikkonen as well. Well, I say caught up effectively, we've just stayed within DRS because that's effectively what we've done. We weren't too far off after we got past Schumacher anyway. But anyway, speaking of Schumacher, he at a very rapid rate of knots will have to look behind and see Sebastian Vettel coming very quickly in that scarlet red Ferrari. That was weird phrasing, but anyway. Yellow flag up ahead. What is going on here? It's an Alfa Romeo. It's Giovinazzi. The Italian has some type of problem. No smoke coming from the car. But it looks like Antonio Giovinazzi's French Grand Prix has come to a close. Only 10 laps in. He's out of the session. So Alfa Romeo has a retirement. Really not what they would have been hoping for. But anyway, let's ride on board with the Italian here and see if we can spot or hear anything. It all looks okay as he comes out of turn 1 and 2 and then just slows as he comes into turn 3. Almost collects Kevin Magnussen and Kimi Raikkonen now. There's a bit scruffy from GL, it must be said. But anyway, he retires now. And as you can see right there, is Sebastian Vettel cutting on to the back straight, lap 11. Here he comes, up our inside. No, we're actually going to try and fight that. And now we get the move done on Kevin Magnussen as well. That all happened that quickly, I couldn't even get the words out. K-Mag is still there, is he? No, we've actually pulled ahead. Okay, so, alright, breathe. Let's try and just wrap our heads around what just happened. So, Vettel looked to go up the inside, we defended and somehow overtook Magnussen around the outside as well. That was not the plan originally, but I think we definitely got a little bit lucky there. But anyway, into the pits at the end of lap 11, coming in for our one and only stop of this race for a set of hard tyres to take us to the end. Not too sure where we effectively stand in the running order, as some of the AI still have to make another stop. But speaking of stops, that is a beautiful one from the boys there, 1.9 seconds. That was an awesome stop from the team. That is very, very impressive. We do emerge in dead last, 21st, but I'm not too worried because the car was feeling really good. The car felt nice and stable. It was planted, and as you can see, we come on to the start of lap 13. That's a warning for exceeding track limits. Always nice to see one of those. But Kimi Raikkonen comes out ahead of us. Now, at this point, that actually worried me a little bit because we went for the undercut to try and gain some time on Kimi, or to see if we could actually jump him, but it hasn't worked, and we're only barely within DRS range as well. The gap's 8/10 coming onto this back straight, and unsurprisingly, Raikkonen very quickly broke away from us, so not much we could do there. But cutting onto lap 16 now, a couple more of the AI served their second stop. That promotes us up into P13. On to lap 16 now at the back straight. The race kind of settled down here for a few laps. As you can see, Kimi Raikkonen about 1.8 seconds up the road. We've got about 3.5 seconds to Kevin Magnussen behind. On to lap 21 now, we fast forward again about another 5 laps. We find ourselves in P8 as the last of the AI have made their second stop. So we're in the points again, somehow. But it's not going to be easy to hold on to them, as we've got Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz coming at us at a rate of knots from behind. Sainz actually on the medium tyre as well, so that's even a more worrying thought, to be fair. But anyway, we'll have to try and get the elbows out here. Onto lap 23, onto the back straight. Here comes Verstappen with the DRS. He looks to the inside. We're going to squeeze him right to the edge of the track as far as we can without making contact. He's still there up the inside. We try and hang it around the outside, and we do that successfully for the moment. Still right there though, so we can't relax. But we have survived the back straight for the time being. Cutting on it to lap 26. Verstappen is now trying to have another go. He actually backed off for about a lap and a half, 2 laps, maybe trying to save some ARS. As he, it's going to be close. I thought he was actually just going to send that then, because he was effectively a full car's lengths ahead, really. But yeah, he backs out of us, and we're able to maintain the spot somehow. So we still sit P8 in this race. I have no idea how. Meanwhile, the 2 Mercedes setting fastest laps and disappearing up the road. No big surprises there. But anyway, here we go, cutting on to the final lap. This is the last chance for Verstappen, Sainz and anybody else in that queue behind us. I don't actually know who is there, but there's quite a few from what I can see. But here we go, Verstappen, DRS Rich, undoubtedly overtake, pulls to the inside, and he should get the move done. We're going to try and fight this once again around the outside, and once again Verstappen backs out. I'm not too sure what he's doing there, to be fair, but anyway, Valtteri Bottas meanwhile wins the French Grand Prix for Mercedes, so a fantastic drive from Valtteri Bottas there. Lewis Hamilton comes home P2, Ferrari 3-4, I can't tell which order that's in, but anyway, for us, it looks like as long as we can get through here, the AI will go for a move here if you leave them room. Verstappen, he looked, I saw the proximity arrow, he thought about a lunge, but he decided not to. Now we've just got to survive through this left and into the final right, and we should be okay. Little lock up on the right front, but that's nothing to worry about. Power out of the final corner now, and from 18th on the grid, it's going to be P8 here at the Castellet. very, very happy with that.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race, surely, that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Alright, so there we go, guys. That has been today's video. The French Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas takes the win for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton home in P2 from Charles Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel. Lando Norris from 13th up to 5th. Brilliant drive from the McLaren there. Danny Kvyat gets driver of the day as well from 22nd up to 11th. Doesn't score points, but that's still a pretty impressive drive. But for us, another 4 points on the board in P8. And looking down, Mick Schumacher down there in 19th. So, I don't know. We might have to start thinking about looking into a new teammate, as Mick is really not performing as well as I would have hoped at this stage in the season. But championship-wise, P8 in the drivers, P7 now in the constructors. So everything looking very nice and dandy for us at the moment. But anyway, rivalry breakdown. We actually lose 2 points to Pierre Gasly, so he now leads the rivalry by 1 point. So I'm not too worried about that. I think we should be able to get him back. Team acclaim. I think we're actually going to get to level 10 here. Let's just double check. Yes, we do, level 10. So that now means, if I'm right, we should be able to put a third sponsor on the car. So that will be quite nice for us. We complete our 2 sponsorship objectives without any dramas, so that's nice. And, well, that's good. 2.45 million after this Grand Prix, so we might delegate some of that money around. We'll wait and see, obviously. We do have to put a little bit of money aside for re-signing Mick Schumacher, if we re-sign Mick Schumacher, that is. We haven't got much time to the Austrian Grand Prix, so we'll put in some G-Force training to try and help out Mick Schumacher. So hopefully that can help him get a little bit quicker. But I thought I was right, and indeed I am. We can now put a third sponsor on our car. Just having a look at the driver perks. So 62 rating for Mick Schumacher. That's really not great. We probably should do a bit of work on him, to be fair, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, looking at the third sponsor, I'm thinking of DSB Optics. Achieve a top 10 finish during the race. That is definitely possible. We did it like 4 minutes ago, so and that's not our first top 10 finish of the season. We've had quite a few, so we will sign with them, and that sponsor will go on the car for the next Grand Prix, so that's all nice and dandy. But anyway, I think that is it from me today, guys. Actually, no, it's not real quickly. We're actually going to go and put a brand new engine and gearbox in the car. So we'll take a grid penalty for the next race, but hopefully with a new engine we can come back through the field and yeah, fight for another top 10. Fingers crossed anyway. But that's it from me today, guys. Hope everybody is well. If you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned for plenty more. And until the next video, hope everybody's well, stay safe, look after you all, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.